So I think the 76ers could be maybe the biggest example in the league of a team that really needs the All-Star break right now. They have won 2 in a row, so that's nice, but we know how up and down this season has been for them. Some of it because of injuries, some of it because of the fit, some of it because of whatever the hell else. I mean, a lot of opinions have been flying around about this team lately. They recently lost 4 in a row. And, they got the Clippers before the break, and that'll be a tough one. And then after that, they potentially could go on a run and just get a mental and physical reset and all that. But if Philly is going to prove to us that they really are a finals contender, they're going to have to start doing it pretty quickly, because it's not often that we see a team just struggle the way this team has and then flip the switch once the playoffs come, unless you've got the best player in the league or something. And to be fair, Embiid can become the best player in the NBA for stretches or for particular games, but if he can do that for a long run, a playoff run, or just the last couple months of the regular season into the playoffs, we don't know. Part of that is simply if the guy can just play enough, and we'll get into the lineups and all that stuff, but I do think a lot of this rests with Embiid, because okay, he was hurt, and since he's come back, he's played 7 games in their last 15, and his efficiency's been kind of bad. His threes have been up. To be fair, he's been good from outside, and his free throws have been good, so maybe his true shooting isn't bad overall, but I'm going to choose to just look at the lack of dominance on Embiid's part, and that's simply not going to fly. I mean, for this team to be as good as they can be, Embiid has to be the best center in the league and one of the best players in the league. And we know he can do it, but whether that just means he has to be in better shape, or he has to be more aggressive in posting up, or they have to get him the ball more. I mean, it continues to be such an interesting thing with this Philly team. I mean, the obvious thing is, of course, the Ben-Joel fit, and I mean, I agree with all of that, but at the same time, I don't think it's the biggest problem with this team. I think part of it is, like, they might have just committed to Horford too late, and the Celtics may have let him go at the perfect time. Tobias is a nice player, but that's kind of it. He's a nice player. I mean, we saw just, they lost so much shot making with Redick and Jimmy being gone, and the awkward fit was still there last season, but if it's not for the craziest shot of all time, there's a chance that they go to the conference finals against Milwaukee, and maybe they lose, I don't know, but I think they really lost a lot with JJ and Jimmy being gone, and I understand why they let him go, mainly Jimmy. I haven't really looked at the money like that. Maybe there was a chance they could have kept Redick, maybe they would have been in the luxury tax. I'm not going to bother looking, but they still lost quite a bit, right? And I guess if we just go to this team now, I mean, I mentioned it already, Tobias and Horford, they're cool. I mean, Horford, maybe he'd be better just playing full-time center. But of course, he knew what he was signing up for. They knew what they were signing up for with taking him on. It was going to be more threes, not having the ball as much. And it just hasn't been as great as it could be. I mean, the guy's been missing a lot of shots lately. I mentioned Embiid again, and then honestly, Ben Simmons, I think, has been pretty great. I mean, an interesting thing is how much they're ramping up his minutes. He's playing 38 minutes a game in the last 15, which I don't think is insane. The guy's 21 or something, and he's great. I mean, I think Ben Simmons has gotten a little too bad of a rap lately. I think he is still among the elite young players that I would have. I mean, I saw a thing recently of, would you rather have Brandon Ingram, Jason Tatum, or Ben Simmons? Give me Ben Simmons 100 times out of 100, okay? Now, am I going to have to put shooting around him? Sure. But you got to put shooting around everybody. So I don't think that's really a criticism against Ben. That being said, does Ben Simmons still need to keep the aggression up, especially when Embiid is out there? Yes, because I've said this before I said it like 2 minutes ago. I agree with the awkward fit between the two of them, but I still think there's so much that Ben can do out there between attacking the glass, setting screens, running it down the other team's throat every single fast break. I feel like he can do enough of that stuff to where you can make that work between the two of them. You want to know something? For all the talk about, well, without Joel, Ben is this, and I mean, there was the stretch when Joel was out, and this team was a little more fun, no doubt about it. Maybe they shouldn't play Horford, you know? Like, just put Korkmaz in there over Horford. They're going to be doing the same things, except Korkmaz is nailing 42% of his threes, shooting 7 a game in the last 15, you know what I mean? Couldn't that be effectively just as impactful as Embiid leaving and Simmons suddenly running the entire show? I feel like it could be, because the ceiling for this team is still Ben and Joel together. Now, I don't want Horford to just be completely outcasted, because I think you're going to need him against the Bucks, and that's the biggest thing at the end of the day for this team. Now, they also have to get to the Bucks, and that does not look as good as it did in the beginning of the season for them. Not even just the Bucks, but maybe, Miami's got some big guys and stuff like that. But, like Horford's played 31 minutes in the last 14 games. Maybe he shouldn't be playing 31 minutes, you know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of chances for this team to get more athletic with Thibault and Korkmaz and, well, mainly those two. And they just got Glenn Robinson and Alec Burks. So, okay, a little more stuff here and there. In a way, I'm kind of just effectively blaming Horford for their problems, which, okay, he hasn't been great this year, but I think it's more so just spacing and shooting and athleticism just does so much in today's NBA. And Richardson and Tobias give you both of those things. Horford kinda doesn't. And I loved the guy for his 3 years with the Celtics, but we knew this was going to be awkward with him going into this, and it has not been great. So, well, again, I'm not saying don't play him or anything, just maybe play him a little less. I don't think that's a ridiculous idea. I don't think pulling Horford for a couple extra Korkmaz minutes is suddenly going to make their defense terrible. I mean, Joel Embiid has been a one-man defensive show for basically his whole career. And the rest of that unit is still great defensively. You still have Thibault coming off the bench. So I just think there's a little more stuff that Brett Brown could go to. The other potential thing with this team is there enough heart, I guess? I mean, I'm not questioning if they all care, but I saw it last year with the Celtics, where whenever they would get down by 6 or 7 points, they would basically mail it in. Whereas before that, they would have less talented teams that would fight like crazy all the way to the last second of the game, you know? And I hope Philly doesn't fall into that. I don't think their players dislike each other, but sometimes it does look like it's just a group of individuals playing together more so than a team. And maybe you could go back to the Ben and Joel thing for that. I mean, I don't think you need to be best friends with each other, but it sometimes does look a little alarming, just the general chemistry of this team. And, there's been some quotes here and there. Horford had something about there's stuff that we're going to keep in-house, and Joel just had his 9 millionth quote about, I've got to shoot threes because of this. And then while all that's happening, Ben Simmons doesn't say anything, so, which could be a good thing. I don't know. That always matters, just the mental makeup of the team and stuff. But anyway, again, I think it's aggressiveness on Ben and Joel's part. I think you got to get Korkmaz in there more. You got to accept the fact that this Horford experiment just may not have worked. And that doesn't mean you can't find a place for him, but I don't know. You try to make it work. I don't think there's a chance in hell that they can get off of him. Or maybe there is. I don't really know. So I guess you just kind of work around him, and you hope that Ben and Joel can be as good as they possibly can be. It's about all I really got. This team's weird, man. Like, we knew they were going to be weird going into this, but we were all just accepting that it's Bucks, Sixers, everybody else. And while I still picked the Bucks to make the finals before the year, I didn't think it was crazy to pick Philly. I mean, we saw the rationale. They're huge, and they would be good enough on offense. And, well, what are they right now? They're the 6th seed, I believe it is. And the East is it's tough. They're the 5th seed. They're 5th, but they're only a game and a half up on the Pacers. So, I mean, if the playoffs began right now, the Sixers would play Miami in round 1, and a tough series. I mean, I've been saying this a little bit on Twitter. Like, there's going to be 2 damn good teams in the East who lose in round 1. It's just the way the seeding is set up. There's 6 good teams. The Bucks aren't losing in round 1, and then the 2 seed's not going to lose in round 1. So 3 through 6, 2 of those teams are out, and decent chance Philly falls in that. I mean, they're currently 7.5 games out of the 2 seed, so they're going to be in a tough round 1 series. And there's also a solid chance they don't even have home court advantage in a series, so that would be tough as well. I mean, yeah, they got some things to figure out, and like I said, they could really use an all-star break. But even then, they got the Clippers and the Bucks like right after the break, so yeah.